Hey, Duane here with the best of us, the Floros. We're back for part two with our two creators and some newbies into this RV community. And boy, I'll tell you what, the chemistry was outstanding. The information was second to none. We learned so much watching and listening and hearing stories from a full-time RVer and from a part-time RVer. And listen, if you haven't subscribed to us, would like to invite you to do so. Also, if you enjoy this, give us a thumbs up and ring the bell so that you'll know when our next RV comes out. But I hope that you will enjoy learning and listening as we continue this discussion with some exciting, wonderful folks. So here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Another question that you have for our panel?
How about route planning tools or that kind of thing that do you use to plan your routes out?
So our favorite method is just basically taking a dart and throwing it at the.
I like that.
Sometimes it works just as well because sometimes your plans are thwarted and you have to replan.
Yeah, that's true. The last couple of months, that's pretty much what it's been.
All kidding aside, we use RV Trip Wizard. That's our primary routing tool, and it works well. And they do have a new version out now that will actually list all of the parks that are closed due to COVID-19. So that's kind of nice, as long as the database is kept up to date. But it works well for us. The great thing about that is you can go in and say, I want to drive for 3 hours per day. Where does that put me based on where I'm at now? And then you can start seeking out RV parks with that 3 hour radius. Okay. Or miles. You can do it a couple different ways, but we love it.
Yeah, I'll be honest, we use Google Maps, the Google Maps app. That's as far as the actual routing, as far as finding where we're going to stay. We're primarily, I would say most of the time we use Allstay's app is our go-to. And like I said, I really like Campendium just because usually that will give us an idea on cell coverage. But yeah, and a lot of times what we do is we don't make a lot of reservations. I'll just be honest. We prefer not to have reservations so that we can make it up as we go. Yeah. So we literally will just start off in the morning and drive for a couple hours. And then Patty will get on her phone. I'll say, you know what, I don't think I want to drive more than another hour or two. And then she'll go into like Allstays. I'll tell her roughly where we're headed. And she'll start looking for our options. And again, there is a downside to traveling that way.
Yeah.
You never know if you're going to we always find something. That's
not have to have a backup plan.
Yeah. But what we try to do is be really smart. Like over 4th of July, for instance, the last 2 summers we went west. So usually within a couple weeks of a holiday, once we kind of know where we're at, then we'll start calling around and make a reservation because like holidays are busy. Yeah. Weekends we try to avoid campgrounds. So usually we look for either dispersed camping because again weekends are going to be much busier and they're going to fill up, and so we look for either dispersed camping or Walmart's, Cracker Barrels, things like that. I mean, that's just our style, which again, being full-time, I don't know, you might be more looking to stay in parks. But yeah, I would just say Allstays to me has been a great app for finding places to stay. And I'm going to check out the other app that they were talking about. So that might make our life a little easier.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. We have used Allstays, Campendium. It just depends on kind of what our mood is. If we know we're going for a certain type of camping, like boondocking or something like that, then we'll use the apps that are that lend themselves more to that style of camping.
Brian and Shauna, do you guys have solar or I know you've got an inverter too, I'm sure, with your.
We do, yeah. We have a solar package. I have 4 Battle-Born lithium batteries. Got a whole coach of VICTRON Multi-Plus 3000 inverter that I installed just about a month or 2 ago. And we've spent the last 6 or 7 weeks pretty much dry camping.
At least,
Hmm.
yeah.
A little bit longer. And we do have a composting toilet as well, so we don't have the traditional sewage system, which helps preserve our water tremendously. And so that then increases our gray water capacity, so we can go out and stay isolated, if you will, for weeks and weeks.
And I know, Patrick, you've done some things, you and Patty have done some on batteries and solar panels and some of the recordings that have been helpful.
Yeah, in fact, I just put out a video Sunday because, people see us doing things on our channel, and then instantly people are reaching out saying, oh, I better get lithium Battle-Born batteries. So I put out the video to say, you may not need solar, you may not need lithium, you may not need a generator, just to try to explain, because again, if you're going to be plugged in an RV park the majority of the time, it would just be a complete waste of your money to go that route. But if you're going to do like we do, then you might want to consider. And so I just tried to lay out so that before people go out and start spending again money on lithium batteries, they may not need them. And I was just trying, it's one of those things you got to figure out, again, your camping style.
Right.
I love the lithium. We just got those back in December. And the fact that I don't have to worry about battery levels anymore. I mean, if I were to run them dry, to know that I haven't harmed the batteries, like, to me, that is so nice to not have to worry about, where with, lead acid batteries, you're always worried about going below 50%. And if you don't have an actual monitoring system installed, you don't even know when you get to 50%. And now because we have the VICTRON monitoring system, we know exactly how many volts. And so the other thing I would add on solar is and I talked about this in the video, portable is nice because if you're camping in trees, you can move it around to try to get some sun. But I really like having our panel that's on the trailer, because when you have long drive days and it's sunny out, that is like free energy for recharging your batteries that you can't do with your portable, unless there's a way that you could, I don't know, lay it in the bed of a truck or something. But so I really like, we have both actually. We do have a 100-watt portable, but then we have the 200 watts right on the trailer. And I think that's something, people don't think about. Because I remember, I think it was 2 summers ago, we didn't have it on the trailer, and we're driving across like Wyoming, and it's sunny out, and it's an all-day drive. And I'm like, man, we could be recharging these batteries if there's only a way to plug in our portable solar panels. So,
what's been the most exciting part of RVing for you? Whether you want to put that in the fun category, just the experience. What is it about RVing that has been a highlight for you in either full-time or part-time?
So I say, well, from a full-time perspective, well, one, the freedom. I think it goes without saying.
I was going to say the F word. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Freedom.
Freedom.
Yes.
And not only from just being able to go and do, but what that does for your mind, really, to know that you can pretty much go wherever you want to go, set up shop, if you will, if you're still working or whatever that case may be, that you still go and do that. You don't have to be tied down to, the traditional anymore. And so the freedom, the excitement of going and seeing, everything that this country has to offer. I tell you, as every day goes by, I find it harder and harder to want to go out beyond the United States and travel to foreign countries anymore, because there's so many things to see and do here that until you go see and do in this country, you don't realize what is out there. It's really incredible. Just today, we went to this small town up in northern Nevada. Cool little place, and we wouldn't have thought to even go to those places in our previous life.
Right.
We would have whisked ourselves off to the Caribbean or
Or
Europe or
the
something.
more touristy places, and not seeing some of the smaller.
Yeah, true.
Mhm.
Good.
That's been our lure to get to that point we can go west. So I mean, we're preparing to do that. Maybe not necessarily be full time, but to be able to go west and boondock, as well, and without spending, a ton of money, which we have already. But watching your videos, all of your videos.
You're not helping us retire, is what.
Well, there's it's a big misnomer about full time life. I mean, it's certainly less expensive in our case, but it's not a cheap way to live.
No.
It really, unless you purposely want to live like a minimalist and super frugal and super cheap, you can do that.
Right.
But otherwise, it's not the cheap way to live. It really isn't.
Yeah. Cheaper than the way we used to live.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and for us, we've always just liked the adventure, going and seeing new things that we've never seen before. That's why we don't like to actually have a plan. We kind of have a destination in mind where we want to end up, but then getting there is the fun part, the seeing, the doing. That's what we've always enjoyed doing. Even with that's why we camp with our pups, because we got to take them along with us. Way back when we had Maddie and Delaney to start with, and just Maddie, so we wanted to go with her and take her. So our pups are spoiled. They go everywhere.
Yeah.
They go everywhere. They now I actually have a puppy stroller that
Oh my
I
goodness.
put them in. Yeah, and we got that last summer because we realized we wanted to go into this town, and little Bez just gets so petrified when people go to touch her, and Truman just wants to see everybody. So it was just kind of chaos, and then we decided we just came across this place and found a stroller, and there you go. So we even have a bike carrier for our new bikes that we had with our other bikes that we're going to try with the pups and see if they like riding because we like to ride on trails and things like that. So yeah, just the adventure, just going. And now as YouTubers, we like meeting up with people, the people that comment on our channel. It's nice seeing a face, actually seeing the people and hanging out with the people that we see the comments from. So,
and I always tell people, it's my bed, it's my sheets, it's my toilet, it's my dirt. And when you're staying in hotels, you don't know what you're going to get. And so that's why we were drawn to RVing was, I don't know whether it's cheaper. I mean, sometimes people say to me, oh, it's so much cheaper to go camping probably. I don't know that it really is, because again, a lot of it's going to depend on how a person camps.
Your style.
But it's just, I think it's more I'd much rather be in our camper than I would a Hampton Inn. Not that I'm against Hampton Inns, but it's just, and I think last summer, I think we averaged like $22 a night for camping. Well, you're never going to stay in hotels for an average of $22 a night. And that was a combination of, what we typically try to do is we'll try to boondock as many nights as possible. And then usually about once a week, we will go to a commercial campground to do laundry, catch up on, kind of recharge, maybe a nice long shower if they have nice shower houses. So, because unfortunately with our teardrop, we only have an 18-gallon gray tank. So we really have to be frugal with the water. And then one other thing I was just going to mention, are you familiar with Harvest Host program?
Yes.
Okay.
We love it.
Yeah.
Love it. We've had some neat places that we've got it to camp at because of Harvest Host. Yeah.
Good.
You talking about the hotel versus the camping. I've told Deana before, I've never stayed in a hotel or motel and knocked on the door of the room next to me and struck up a conversation.
Nope.
Right.
Nope. In a campground, it's as common as though you're old friends. You feel a lot more safe and secure just being outdoors with folks. Mike and Candy, did you all have another question you wanted to ask?
Well, I'd like to take off on that for a second. We go along with what you're saying. The older I get, I don't know about her, but the older I get, the less I enjoy a hotel.
No, I don't like them at all.
Yeah.
If I can go and take my own bed, then that's the great thing. But we have talked for years about getting to the point where we can look at each other and say, you know what, where do you want to wake up tomorrow?
That's cool.
And, well, I want to wake up at the beach. Well, we can wake up at the beach. If I want to wake up in the mountains, we can wake up in the mountains.
Yeah.
And so that's something that we're really looking forward to, and seeing the things that we've seen pictures of and read about and talked to other people about, and just going in and doing them and experiencing them and taking our time doing it.
We always talked about we only have this much time, if you think about it.
Yeah.
Left. Yeah.
Well, to
What?
be able to drive. I mean, I worked with a physician
I think I put mine down here.
who is living in Florida now, and he retired, and everybody goes, "Oh, I can't believe he's doing that." You know, he got they went all over the country, and now he's 80, still doing well, but they are at their final destination. I think they're going to get a condo somewhere. But they have been all over
the place.
And so he was one that kept saying, "You got to do it, Deana. You got to do it." Well, I don't have your money, but but you can, no matter how much money you have, you can hit some places. So that's why. And my parents traveled all over the country. They did an RV, but they got to see so many places, and those are memories.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
When they can't travel anymore, and so that's what really spurned us.
Yes. If I can ask one last question for each of you to think about with me, knowing where you are now in this journey, if you could go back and do it all over again, knowing what you know now, what would you do earlier in this process?
Great question.
Yeah. Well, you know, a lot of times, here's the thing. For years, we didn't know what RV we wanted, and I'm not sure you ever figure out what RV you want. There is no perfect RV, because whatever you find today, if you think it is, 5 years from now, it may not be. Right. But I do look back, if I was just giving advice to somebody looking to buy their first RV, for a while we chased, it was like buy an RV that we could tow, then we go buy a bigger tow vehicle. So then we were like, oh, we could do a bigger RV. And instead of just sitting down and saying, let's figure out what we really want and not buy what we can actually tow or that type of thing. And I think that would have probably saved us a lot of money over the years. And then, looking back, and I tell like my students, I teach college, and I tell my students it's easy at my age to look back and say the things I should have done, but I try to impress on them, if I could go back, this whole going full time, I wish we were 30 years younger. Not that we can't do it now, and we're planning on in 4 years, but it's just one of those things. I think when you're younger, you think you have to settle into a job and a family. And so that would be something I wished I was smart enough back then to say, you know what, Patty, let's just buy an RV and travel the country. I'm not even sure they were probably doing it, but there was no YouTube 30 years ago.
Right.
And so we didn't know it was happening. I used to buy things that I could afford. So if I really needed a generator, I would go buy a cheap generator that I could afford, only to 6 months later or a year later say, oh, we should have spent just a little bit more money and got a quieter generator. And then I'm buying and I still periodically do that, not because we couldn't afford it, just because I'm cheap. And then I ultimately regret it. So, that's something, that's why I say, think about your purchases before you do them. Because, if it makes sense to wait 6 months to buy the Honda generator versus the cheaper, I think that as I get older, I'm getting a little bit smarter about. Sometimes it drives Patty nuts, because I'll like the bike. So I mean, I watched so many YouTube videos and read so many reviews on bikes. She was finally like, just make a decision. So,
I like that one.
Analysis paralysis is what we call that.
Yes.
That's a good one.
Maybe Shauna can speak to this, but I think for me anyway, sort of the catalyst for all of this was that we finally came to a realization in both our professional and personal lives that we were kind of, in a way, wasting what we had left. We talked about this, a little bit of time we had left, and we were kind of wasting that doing things that weren't making us happy, and then we weren't enjoying. And we didn't really realize, we couldn't see beyond the programming, as we call it. We couldn't see beyond what we were supposed to to be and what we were supposed to have. 2.8 kids, 2 cars, house, all these things, right? So until we were able to separate ourselves from that and say, well, there is another way to live, and it might make us happier, so why not just go for it?
Yeah.
And personally, we've had no regrets.
No.
Maybe Shauna can
None.
speak more to that.
No, well, I think Patrick said it too. You know, it's a shame that we didn't do this earlier or sooner and started making preparations for this type of lifestyle, because we've enjoyed every minute of it. I mean, absolutely every minute. Well, okay, there's maybe a couple minutes of
So when the engine went out, we weren't enjoying it then.
We weren't enjoying that. But once we got back on the road, we were enjoying it. So yeah, it's just a shame that we couldn't have planned and done this earlier, but we're happy that we're here now.
What would we have done sooner? You know, for us just starting out, we could say we would have done it 10 years ago, but honestly, I think we've spent our lives for our families and for our kids and for our grandkids. And we've just gotten to the point where we said, you know what, they're good. And it's time for us to take a little time for us and do the things that we want to do and go the places we want to go and all that stuff. The kids will be there. The grandkids will be there waiting for us to come visit.
Right.
And they'll have a table for us at Thanksgiving, and they'll have a chair for us at Christmas time. We may roll up in their backyard and drop the fifth wheel right there for a while. But, you know, we're just in that transition right now, and we're really, really looking forward to it. We want to thank you guys for your input.
Yeah.
Because every little thing that we get, it's either being written down or it's going in the memory bank. So we appreciate your wisdom.
Well, that's the great thing about this community. We all have our own ways of doing things. We all have our own perspectives based on, you know, what it is we do and how we do it. You know, beliefs in what type of system we have, rig we have, or systems in our rigs, whatever. So, like you said, it's just those little bits of information you glean those from lots of different people and sources, and then that helps you kind of round your plan out. So,
absolutely. Well, from Deana and I, we're gleaning something every time you all share. We truly are. It's enriching our life and our experience. We cannot thank each of you enough for being a part of this tonight. Life Uninterrupted, Brian and Shauna, thank you so much. It's a delight to actually spend some time with you all this evening.
I love the way we can do this.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll get to see each other.
Awesome.
Yes. And we'll cross paths down the road, I'm sure. Patty and Patrick with Delaney. We just have we love your dogs, and Deana's convinced your dogs love her after they sat on her
when
lap.
I rode in their truck.
When we were riding in but for you guys just to take time to be with us, and I would just say to everyone that's watching, if you haven't subscribed yet, these are 2 quality channels that we would highly recommend for you to learn from and to follow on a regular basis, because they are truly teachers as well as journeyers along with this. And Mike and Candy, I'm sure we are going to be camping together. Probably in the kids' driveway at the same time. We can't wait to see what their homeowners association.
Where and when is the first meet?
I don't know if you could tell watching, but we were having fun. The chemistry amongst the 4 couples was outstanding. We learned so much. Hope you did too. So again, I just want to encourage you to subscribe to us. Give us a thumbs up if you've enjoyed this. Leave some comments. We'd love to hear what you think of this experience, what other insights you might share. And then ring the bell so you'll know the next time our RV comes out. And just remember, we're the best of us, the Floros, hoping for you the best of you and your travels as we get back out and enjoy camping again this summer 2020. Thanks, Tim. Bye.